The village of Wilno, nestled deep within the dense, foreboding forests of Ontario, was a place shrouded in mystery and superstition. Its inhabitants, a tight-knit community bound by tradition and the weight of their ancestors' sins, lived in the shadow of a curse that had haunted their lineage for generations. On a bitterly cold night in 1860, as the wind howled through the bare branches of the towering pines, the sound of a newborn's cry pierced the eerie silence. In the dimly lit confines of the Kozlowski family's modest home, Anya cradled her twin sons, Mikolaj and Jarek, their arrival marked by a peculiar and unsettling circumstance. Anya's brow furrowed as she studied the infants, her heart heavy with the knowledge of their cursed heritage. Mikolaj, the firstborn, had entered the world encased in a thin, translucent membrane, a sign that the Vieshchi affliction ran deep in his veins. Jarek, the younger twin, bore sharp, protruding teeth, a harbinger of the Wupji curse that threatened to consume him. The midwife, a weathered woman whose eyes held a lifetime of secrets, cast a solemn glance at the newborns, whispering a prayer under her breath. "The curse has claimed another generation," she murmured, the weight of her words settling like a pall over the room. Anya's grip tightened around her sons, her own past sins, and the choices that had led her family to this point weighing heavily on her conscience. She had hoped, against all odds, that the curse could be broken, that her children would be spared the darkness that had plagued their lineage. But as she gazed into their innocent faces, she knew that the burden of their heritage would be a cross they would have to bear. In the days that followed, the villagers of Wilno whispered amongst themselves, casting wary glances at the Kozlowski household. The rumors of the cursed twins spread like wildfire, fueling the superstitions that had long haunted the community. Some spoke of the Vieshchi, the vampire-like creatures whose very existence was an abomination, while others feared the Wupji, the vengeful undead who rose from the grave to wreak havoc. Anya, consumed by guilt and the weight of her family's past, withdrew further into herself, her once vibrant spirit dimmed by the shadows that threatened to consume her. She knew that the only way to save her son Mikolaj from the Vieshchi curse was to perform a gruesome ritual, one that would sever his connection to the darkness that coursed through his veins. On Mikolaj's 7th birthday, as the villagers gathered to celebrate the occasion, Anya led her son to the family's secluded cellar, the air thick with the scent of candles and the weight of her decision. Mikolaj, his eyes filled with a mixture of fear and trust, watched as his mother carefully unsheathed a sharp blade, the metal gleaming in the flickering light. "Mikolaj, my son," Anya whispered, her voice trembling. "I must do this to save you from the curse. It will be painful, but you must endure." Mikolaj nodded solemnly, his small hands gripping the edge of the wooden table as Anya gently parted the membrane that encased his head. The sound of tearing flesh echoed through the cellar, and Mikolaj's anguished cries pierced the air, the pain searing through his body like 1,000 white-hot needles. Anya's own tears flowed freely as she completed the ritual, her heart breaking with each of her son's agonized screams. When the task was finally done, she gathered Mikolaj into her arms, rocking him gently as he shuddered, the weight of the curse lifted from his shoulders. "Forgive me, my son," Anya murmured, her words laced with sorrow. "I have condemned you to a life of darkness, but I will do everything in my power to protect you from the evil that threatens to consume us all." In the shadows, unbeknownst to Anya and Mikolaj, Jarek lay in his crib, his eyes glinting with a malevolent intelligence that belied his tender years. The Wupji curse had already taken root, its tendrils slowly wrapping around the innocent child, waiting to claim him as its own. The Kozlowski family's fate had been sealed, their future inextricably linked to the curse that had haunted their lineage. As the villagers continued to whisper and the shadows of the forest loomed ever closer, the stage was set for a confrontation that would test the bonds of family, the limits of loyalty, and the very nature of good and evil